Hi everyone, my name is Pankaj Pandey and welcome to VYAPT Growth Series, Season 2, Episode 31. And in our growth series today, we have with us Ms. Renu Mishra, who is a seasoned C-suite person and with a great business transformation abilities and growth aspirations. Hi Renu.
Thank you, Pankaj. Thank you for having me here.
Uh, Renu will be talking about four different curiosities which we have, primarily from the building space and material industry, and we would be taking it one by one. You have been a person with great, growth and transformational abilities, which you have showcased in many of the organizations wherein you have worked. Can you talk about the growth prospects of building material industry and how it is actually creating a sustainable future?
Pankaj, that's a topic very close to heart. So I would say that I've been more than a decade in this industry, and that's where I worked last. We've had tremendous innovation in the industry, right? So it's not just, it seems like, when people say, oh, consumer durables and FMCG is the most happening industry. But the transformation and the innovation that we see in building material is par excellence. You have to also understand that most of the time the shelf life of the products is much, much longer. So you have to be constantly innovating, preempting what your consumers want, what is the shift, and keep introducing those products in the market, right? So it's the innovation is like a constant buzzword in the industry. With it coupled is a lot of demand which the environment and the world has on us, right? We are responsible for making sure that we are conscious producers, right? We are saving water, we are saving electricity, we're making sure the products are recyclable, so that you can save the environment and the world for the future generations, right? So we may not be the prime ministers and presidents flying into Geneva, but yes, we are people who are influencing it every day.
True.
And that's what comes to my mind when I go back and see how 3D printing has been very important in the industry, right? So we started with 3D printing, tiles with bricks. I mean, using fly ash for bricks, prefabricated bathrooms where you get them, which was probably prevalent in the car industry when we were making tires and steering separately. But now we have prefab bathrooms which come in, fix into the home in one day, right? That's probably the turnaround time that the industry uses. We also have produced products which are lead free, all packing materials which is recyclable. So there is a constant innovation in this industry which is leading in way of a sustainable future. What I saw in the Middle East, while I would say that India was much ahead in terms of innovation, even in 2 decades, in the last 2 decades, we've seen so much happening. In the Middle East, it caught up by government intervention. They
Mhm.
introduced something called water efficiency labels, and they said, okay, get only efficient products into the market, which would mean that your flushing tanks are now adjusted from a 6 liter flush to a four, from a 4 liter flush to a 2.5, which makes sense in terms of what we are using and consuming. Plus, also using gray water in these flushing tanks. Even our outdoor garden industry uses products with which are with gray water. India also had platinum and gold, status to projects which had a lot of savings. And these are important things, right? They may seem very small, and they seem that as if, we don't have enough footprint. But actually, this is a long term footprint, because the house that you've built and is sustainable has a long term in terms of even passing on to the next generation, or even if you sell it to the next customer, it is sustainable. So a lot of developers, and I would give them credit for endorsing and embracing technology. And obviously, when technology is introduced, it is expensive initially. It takes time and volume to get over cost savings. But then in the end, that's what the industry is aiming at. And when I look at all the experience that I've had in the building material, I feel that India has fantastic opportunity. And Indian producers and manufacturers, they can actually deliver 20 times more than what they do today, right? India as a country, I mean, we have fantastic
Oh,
infrastructure
wonderful.
which is geared for
Mhm.
exports. We have amazing availability of raw materials. We have state of the art manufacturing facilities. And I just feel sometimes we are shy of doing what we can achieve.
So one statement you made, Renu, was India can do 20 times more what they actually believe or what they are actually delivering today. And since it is a platform which talks about the growth opportunities, I see that a fantastic growth opportunity lies in India ahead in this particular sector.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at, I mean, it's, we have made that shift from being a low cost base to being a low cost plus innovative and technological base. I mean, look
Hmm.
at the transformation that India has had in the last, decade. So it's
Hmm.
not only that, oh, we want cheap labor. No, that's not true. We want innovative population also to be included, and we have an advantage, right? A bigger population, and the whole technology development in our country also gives that advantage of manpower, which comes at both the spectrums. So
Yeah.
I guess India is all geared.
Yeah, and we are also quality conscious as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the entire industry produces in India right now, right? So, in the last one decade plus, and mostly 15 years, all international brands in our industry have set up plants and manufacturing bases in India. And it talks a lot about what our potential is, which would mean that the Indian manufacturers already have an advantage because they
Mhm.
have those facilities and they have the volume and the scale, right? So,
Mhm.
yes, there is just the opportunity, the demand growing up. And honestly, COVID was another awakening while people were, busy renovating their bathrooms and kitchens because they became their workspaces as well. The demand was off the roof. So in a way, India also provided a proof that it is more recession resistant than any other country, right? So there is more opportunity, enough and more in our country, but enough and more outside the country as well.
Yeah, so we are looking more internally today because of the internal growth and demand of the country. Obviously, you rightly said that we are slowly and slowly becoming recession proof. My second curiosity, which goes in line with the growth and the sustainability I talked about in my first curiosity, is around the innovation. So you have been a person who have been working, at the highest level in this building material industry and for quite some time now. Can you talk about what are the innovations which is happening in this particular industry, and how is this industry working towards creating direct and indirect employment? Since your exposure has been global, can you give the answer from a global context, which would help our viewers to understand it in a more better way?
I think one important thing is that the innovation is always driven by consumption, right? So
Mhm.
more and more consumers are becoming aware. They want sustainable products because the industry is also making them aware, right? It is also
Mhm.
part of our job not only to sell products but also get our consumers aware about the fact that their choices impact the world, right? So
Yeah.
when we make them aware is when they are also making those conscious choices. Also, I would say that when you are when we were growing up, we did not probably have that much internet exposure. I guess the younger kids today are so exposed about global warming, about environment, about technology, so they are the consumers as well. So they are part of the workforce and they're also part of the consumption. So that drives innovation. When you go into the innovation spectrum, then you think about what can we do differently. Obviously, we have to have the same products where people enjoy their shower, but probably we mix the more air into the water so that it has a great satisfying feeling but less consumption of water, right? This innovation came in the industry by almost all brands over a period of time. The
Mhm.
second biggest one, which was I personally feel, was lead-free products, especially in the kitchen, because most of the world consumes water directly from the kitchen taps, and we know how these heavy metals into our body are carcinogenic, and they can have so many other repercussions. So consciously moving ahead, and I would say that most of the brands actually moved much ahead before the government came with a regulation, which tells you about our consciousness towards our consumers. So we did not wait for it, oh, let's wait for it to become mandatory and then we do it. No, that's not the point. I mean, innovation is also about making sure you are a conscious manufacturer, the innovations are sustainable, and it has, because I said that the shelf life of the products is long, right? You would not change a tap tomorrow. You would probably take 5 years or 10 years to change it. So it has a very big impact. And then obviously getting into other spaces, right? When I see other industries which are related to us. I mean, look at the tiles that are being manufactured, look at the bricks which are being manufactured. Everything is about sustainability and, environment friendly approach. And I personally feel that, I mean, lighting, elevator, I mean, every industry which is in building material is consciously doing that.
You talked about innovation, and you talked about sustainability, and you also talked about the kind of job opportunities. This is creating both directly and indirectly. So overall, you see a great growth prospect happening in this building material industry across the globe. Do you think this was long due? Because I think this building material industry would have grown to a great extent in last decade itself. But do you think that the another 1 or 2 decade actually lies to the building material industry, when the demands are increasing and people are very choosy about the kind of thing they want in their houses and otherwise?
I think I would contribute this to the upcoming generations, right? I personally feel, I mean, okay, I have a Gen Z son, right? I always talk about it. And when you have a Gen Z kid in your house, and he's making you more aware about what technology can do, right? So
Mhm,
our entire shift as consumers has been, what is comfort, what is safe, what is
mhm,
sustainable, and what
mhm,
is accessible, right? So
mhm,
we are moving into that direction, and I think the entire industry is actually making it into that direction. I mean, I did not think of a shower with a light and music, a
mhm,
decade back, and I would still think, oh, we should have a speaker in the bathroom so we can enjoy the music, right? Okay,
mhm,
once on a Sunday morning. But now you have everything integrated, right? And you have your phone, and your iPhone gets connected with the Bluetooth, right? So that's the generation which is the iPhone, iPod, and it's me, my generation, like we say that the I generation, that they have actually thought of these products. They're talking about it. I mean, I would say when you talk about employment opportunities, these are the people you should be including in the workforce, because they're
mhm,
not only the consumers, they're
mhm,
also the bearers of the technology. Imagine in a group of seasoned professionals like us, we
mhm,
have these Gen Zs who are talking about design and technology completely differently than we are. And then
mhm.
we realize, oh yeah, that's possible, right? So they have a thought from design to execution. So they are the workforce and they are the consumers, right? So you have to look at it from a very different lens, that the industry always needed manpower like this. And more, when we are saying that the trends are now changing faster than we could imagine. So yes, the shelf life of the products can be longer, but you have to keep introducing new technology for a wider base of consumers. Also think about digital intervention in making a home. We were all going to a shop, looking at our taps and showers and buying them. Look at what prices can bring in. I mean, it's just not corona, it's been always there, that we had a 3D modeling of our homes and our
Mhm.
kitchens and our bathrooms, and we could choose what we want. But look at these kids, right? They would do it even more at a next level, right? They
True.
would want brands from all over the world, because he wants like a gray carpet, but does not want it to be soiled. He wants an outdoor material which looks like really grass and not does not feel plasticky, and I'm sure it's available somewhere, right? So they will get into choosing the brands across the world and making their homes, sitting at their homes and using a 3D technique, right? And this is something which was available in India more than 2 decades back. Most of the designers, architects have been using it, and brands like us actually promoted and engaged in that tool, because that helped us to get consumers from tier 4, tier 3 cities who did not have probably access to the best showrooms, but then they knew, okay, these products are available, right? So imagine what technology can do in terms of creating jobs. So you have back end jobs which are sitting and creating your dream home, which probably didn't exist, right? In 2 decades from
True.
now,
True.
from
True.
earlier. So I'm just saying that employment opportunities is not only from the manufacturing operations quality technology, but it is also coming to your rooms, where they're saying that, okay, this is possible.
So you talked about that the consumers are actually challenging us and pushing us to think beyond our limits and come up with really some latest innovation, what an organization can even think of. That's really amazing, Renu, what you talked about. After our two curiosities, which talked around growth, innovation, sustainability, and the kind of opportunities which we have in this particular sector, we are on for a rapid fire round, and we'll have 10 questions to be answered. All questions to be answered either in a word or a maximum of a sentence. Are you ready?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so here we go. Okay, so I'll start with the first one and we'll go one by one. Who is your inspiration and why? The first one.
Indra Nooyi, hands down. She's the best.
Okay. The second one. What scares you?
Dark rooms, something which I don't like.
The third one. What's your favorite desert?
I love desserts, but my all-time favorite is gajar ka halwa.
Okay. Your favorite childhood memory?
I think a childhood memory was going in trains, traveling in trains to all holiday destinations. That's something which I miss today.
Your dream destination?
Nordic lights. I want to see the northern lights someday.
Okay. Your favorite sports person?
MS Dhoni.
If you had to be a Disney character, which one would you be?
I don't know how many people have seen Incredibles, but there was this woman who was the Elastigirl in that, and she could do everything stretching herself. I wish I was her. So,
Actually, you found one, huh? Something, something which matches, your style of actually doing things.
yeah,
Okay.
doing more and doing together.
Correct, correct. So if you could learn any language in a week, which would that language be? One week
It will
plan.
probably, yeah, it'll probably be Mandarin because, if I know Hindi, English, and Mandarin, then 40% of the world knows me, right?
Okay. Now the second last question for you is name a song that makes you happy.
I think many songs. I'm a Bollywood buff. All songs from 70s are my favorite, especially the romantic songs.
Okay. What would you prefer, reading a book or watching a movie?
Both. I would do both.
Okay, so 10 on 10 to you. You have answered the questions quite directly to us. So this is 10 on 10. Very few people get this 10 on 10, but you have got that. So congratulations. Huh?
Thank you. After school, this is the first time I'm getting 10 on 10.
Okay, we move on to our fourth curiosity, which is more about you as in person. We have seen the kind of work which you have done, and wherever you have been, you have left an impression of the kind of business abilities, business sense, and business acumen you carry. Can you talk around some of the memorable lessons which you learned from your mentors, be it at your, house or your school or otherwise, and how has it impacted your leadership style?
I would say that a lot of who I am is my upbringing, right? So, I mean, I was born and brought up in Delhi. I studied there, my school, my college, my MBA, and my parents were government servants, like most of the people from our generation. I think a lot of things comes from families, right? Humility, honesty, being very truthful, and probably you can see me very direct. It really comes from the family, and especially my mother, who's been was I had a working mom, and she had much more stretcher hours and than I have, and obviously less and less help, right? So those generations were not who were seeking help and trying to do everything themselves. I mean, she did it with so much grit, determination, and was always my role model. I think I really learn I get my strength from her, I guess. And then if I go back to education, and I get into this conversation, Pankaj, many times with people. Oh, India has like so much pressure, academic pressure, and excellence pressure. But you know what? We have 1.4 billion people. If you don't do it, somebody else will do it, right? So the point is, the structure is made for excellence. You can be in it, you can choose not to be in it, which is fine. I mean, browbeating the system is not a great idea. Yes, we can say that, we should introduce more co-curriculars, blah blah, but then, that is how we were brought up. And I do feel that the education also gets a lot of discipline. The second thing that I probably did very well in my school with all of the academic pressure was I was representing my school in athletics and 100 meters and long jump since the time I was 9 years. And sports get a lot of focus, a lot of discipline, and a lot of competitiveness also, actually. And I don't think any of this is negative, right? So if you use it properly in your life, I mean, if you keep that focus, you keep that grit, your passion, and also the winning spirit, there's nothing wrong in carrying a winning spirit, is something which makes you much more stronger as a leader and as a person. And I completely owe it to my family and my education. And as I went ahead, I met a lot of mentors, managers, and actually all of them were MENA. So for all the stories that you hear about women saying that, oh, there is a glass ceiling and there's nobody supporting you, I wouldn't agree. I would say yes, I got all my share of opportunities, but as women, we need to make sure that we're working harder, but we're also taking those opportunities and demonstrating that we can do it, right?
True, true.
It's everybody. Like I said, if it's a world full of talented people, there has to be a choice which moves from one level to the other, or let's say into a CXO role. And the choice is never gender based. Choice is essentially caliber based. So if you are there and shining, you will be picked up. That's what I feel. And I had my opportunities. So if I had to go back a little in my experience, I mean, I've been a risk taker. I've been a transformational leader. I got my first startup experience in 1997 when telecom just opened, right? Anybody in my place wouldn't have taken it, right? Fresh out of MBA, startup company, and we were the kids who could get, MNCs and top firms lined up for us in our campus placements in MBA. But I said, okay, no, I want to do something different. I mean, that gave me the stretch, that gave me the learning into all finance and commercial functions very early. And I think I just enjoyed that experience and moved to another startup in IT. And after having honed my skills in pretty much all the functions except sales, right, by that time, in 9 years of my career, I was ready for the world, right? Then I did different industries. I did printing, I did FMCG, then I did building material. I did very different roles. I changed locations. So by now, I had when I reached GROHE, which was my previous organization, right, I had all the experience, right, of running a business. So there is that transformation and restructuring experience that I gathered, and I could apply that, right? India needed a very different kind of a leader. We needed to reach the market. We wanted to make sure we're growing profitably. So those objectives, were met. When I came to the Middle East, it was like, okay, 49 countries, how do you deal with them? Right? So you restructure them, you make them into clusters, and then think of which clusters are the startups and which clusters are the matured markets, and run the strategy differently. So these are learnings that you only get when you roll up your sleeves and dig deeply into it. So it does not come easy. So what I'm trying to say is that none of the learnings come easy. So you have to make sure that you implement it well, and you're confident about it. Failure is part of this. I'm not saying that I've not had any failures. Obviously I've had, right? But then you learn, you get up, you dust yourself. That's sports, right? Dust yourself, start the fresh race. I mean, that's how we've lived our life. And my strongest belief is that if you've set your mind on it, you will do it.
That's very true, Renu. I'm pretty sure that it is your belief system which has actually helped you to reach milestones, whatever you've carried, till now. And I'm sure there is a great future which lies ahead, with some other transformational and growth journeys which you would be carrying forward with the organization which you are going to serve. This has been a fantastic, talking with you in this VYAPT Growth Series platform. You have been phenomenal in sharing your heart and mind with us, and the kind of stories, growth story you have in mind to take building material industry to the next level of growth, with some fantastic things in the journey coming ahead. Thank you so much, Renu, for being with us in VYAPT Growth Series.
Thank you, Pankaj. It's been very enjoyable. I've done it after a while, and I'm sure that, this re energizes. Like every experience, this has re energized me again to do something new.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.